Today I'm just in a very chatty mood and I felt like connecting with you all, and I typically do these probably once every 3 months or so, but it's been fun to do them kind of more frequently lately. The Q&A is what I'm talking about, by the way, and I just think it's really fun to read your questions, see what you want to know, kind of just keep up to date with what you're interested in about me and my content, and I thought that I would answer a few of those questions today. So I asked you on Instagram, you know how a freaking Q&A goes, I don't need to explain it. And we are just gonna see what you all want to know. We might spill a little tea. It might be lukewarm. I don't know. We'll see. First question comes from my friend Leah Theodosis, and it says, what is your all-time favorite thrift find? That is really hard to decide. The first thing that comes to mind is one of my very first thrifting videos that I filmed, and it was like a really random Goodwill in the middle of nowhere, and I picked out this really cool Arizona vintage shirt, and it has like the post office on it and like a bald eagle, and it has paint stains, but like it's just my favorite. It's like my most prized shirt. It's just such a good one. So I would say, like, of all of the items that I thrifted, that's probably what comes to mind. And then currently, like, my fruit pants. These are just the best thing ever. I don't know if I would consider that I thrifted them because they came in like a mystery thrift box, but like these are maybe the best thing to ever happen to me. Secret to a healthy relationship. What are yours and Drew's takeaways on that? That's really interesting. I sometimes don't know how to answer because in the past, I have definitely been in unhealthy relationships. I mean, I've talked about it on my channel. I've done like dedicated videos about it and stuff, but I don't know. I think like the difference between this relationship that I'm in now for over 5 years, by the way, we just had our 5-year anniversary. My heart like literally hurts. Yeah, we've been friends for 12 years, going on 13, and we've been dating for 5. So I think like that is honestly the biggest piece of advice that I could give. Like that's the foundation of our relationship, is that we are best friends. Like truly, that is my best friend in the entire world. And there's literally no one single person in the entire world who I respect more than him. So I think like that's just, I mean, the foundation of like trust, respect, being best friends, communication, all of that, like just makes it really easy. And I think in the past I had definitely been in relationships that I really had to work at and like put in so much work. And like I think it's really important to continually work on yourself as an individual and then as a couple. Like it's definitely not perfect by any means, but it's just crazy to see the difference in dynamic between this relationship and others that I've had in the past, because those were like really, really difficult and I would cry all the time and I didn't understand why. And then I realized that I was settling for less than I deserved, and I was being mistreated, and I wasn't being respected, and I was viewed as like someone's object or property, like someone had ownership over me. And now I'm in like a really respectful, calm, peaceful, easy partnership. So definitely just like respect and being best friends for sure. And then for Drew's takeaways, Drew, what's your secret to a healthy relationship?
Communication, being honest with each other, besties.
Love you, bestie. What's something you're proud of as of late? Okay, I gotta like toot my own horn here for a second. I've been in therapy and like kind of life-changing. I've been in and out of therapy for like the majority of my life. I think the first time I went to therapy I was like 13 or something like that. So it's definitely not a new thing, and I am aware of how it can change someone's life. But this is really kind of my first time going to therapy as an adult and really kind of putting in the work and trying to improve myself constantly and just be the best version of myself possible, and also heal parts of myself that I feel were definitely affecting my relationships and my friendships. I think that goes for everyone, honestly. But just like reparenting my inner child has been really amazing. And when I first started out, I definitely had a therapist that I knew I wasn't like 100% in love with and aligned with, and I kind of just went along with it because I was like, you're being picky. And then finally it just kind of came to a point where I was like, this is like, my therapist would literally like talk about themselves for like half of the time. And then I switched probably like 2-3 months ago, and it has been, oh my goodness, it's just been really, really, really healing, and I'm really proud of myself for taking the time and putting in the work to improve myself. And like there's definitely a conversation to be had about privilege. Like the fact that I'm able to afford therapy is huge. It's so inaccessible, it's so difficult to get a good quality therapist for an affordable price. I know that in a lot of areas there are sliding scales, and it can range depending on your income and whatnot, but yeah, I'm really proud of myself for getting into therapy. And actually Probably last summer. Yeah, it would have been last summer when Alexa and I took our trip to Laguna Beach after we got vaccinated, and we filmed together and vlogged together. It was so fun. We were kind of talking, as we always do, about just stuff going on in our lives and our personal lives, and we made a promise to each other on that trip that before the end of the year of last year, 2021, we would get into therapy, and we both did, and we're both doing so good, and I'm just really proud of us. I got quite a few questions on like the joyful movement thing, and things like, could you give me some advice for how you started your joyful movement journey, or where do I begin? I feel so overwhelmed. And honestly, the thing that's made the most difference for me is my approach to joyful movement. You know, before, I've talked about this in all of my joyful movement videos, but I used to really view exercise as a way to burn calories and get smaller and shrink my body, etc. Punish myself for things that I ate, whatever. I'm not gonna get too into that because I don't want to trigger anyone, but changing my mindset and really just figuring out a way to approach it that was sustainable for me, and that was definitely by reshifting my mindset. The whole kind of premise of joyful movement is, you know, using it as a way to celebrate the fact that you love your body and not punish it because you hate it. And that has really stuck with me. And I've noticed an improvement in my mental health. It's given me just like a little bit of me time during the day. I don't think like there's any kind of need to put pressure on yourself or say that I need to work out this many days a week. Just start doing something that you really enjoy. And I think that that's like the biggest part of it, is the joyful aspect. Like, I am simply not someone who can do just like a normal weightlifting workout every single day and like be fulfilled and happy. I need to do something that where I'm like dancing or doing some kind of movement that like is actually making me happy, because I don't enjoy it otherwise, and then I don't want to do it anymore. So like, find something you really enjoy doing and just keep doing it if you want. And also, yeah, like reframe the way you look at it. Look at it as, you know, hey, I'm like celebrating the fact that I'm even able to move my body and able to exercise, because, you know, not everyone is. Exercise has strangely been a way for me to practice self-care, which like I never would have done in the past, but I kind of love it now. But the kind of exercise that I like hiking, walking, you know, hot girl walks, love doing those. Dance workouts, things like that. So just play around with a bunch of different workouts and see what works for you. Have you decided if you're moving? No. No, absolutely not. That was probably like the second most asked question. We have no idea. We absolutely have no idea. But the exciting thing is that by the time you're watching this video, Drew will be starting a brand new job, and it's 100% remote, which is very exciting. This has been like in the works for a few months, and it's just kind of been like, oh, what do we do? Because we've been kind of waiting on this. So that obviously gives us maybe a little bit more opportunity to move around if we want to, but at the same time, like, you know, we really are content with our life in Arizona, being so close to family, our friends, obviously. So I don't know, I'm still not opposed to, if you don't follow me on my vlog channel, you might not know, but I'm still not opposed to like getting an apartment to have as like sort of an office home base for when I'm in LA, and then like living here full time, I guess you could say, and just like visiting there sometimes. But we're also not opposed to moving back to LA. So we'll just see what happens. But I feel like I keep saying we move out in this month, or our lease ends this month. It was supposed to end at the end of March, then we extended it till the end of June, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But coming up here, we'll have lived in this house for 2 years, which is crazy. I got a couple of questions like in the same vein. One of them says, what is your dream life? Would you have a job if you didn't need to have income? And then the other one says, ideally, where do you see yourself retiring? So I thought that was interesting because I have had this goal for like as long as I can remember. But if you've ever been to Arizona, or if you like are familiar with Arizona, there is a typical kind of person called a snowbird. And that's essentially somebody who only lives in Arizona during the winters. So they usually show up around November, December, and then they stay till like April or May. And that would be my dream come true, because the Arizona summers are just so gnarly. And for me, I'm really sensitive to heat. I get really overheated really easily. So it's kind of miserable being inside for like almost 6 months. I mean, you can go to the pool and stuff, but you know what I'm saying. So my dream in life would actually be to be a snowbird. I would love nothing more, actually. And I will probably not stop until I have that. I think I'll always be kind of nomadic, like I'll always move around and try different places, but I would ultimately say that we will end up either in Arizona or California, or hopefully both. It's obviously very expensive, but we're talking dream life here. I would love to live, you know, half of the year in Southern California and then half of the year in Arizona. Let's see if we can make that happen. I don't know. And to the other part of the question that said, would you have a job even if you didn't need to have income? No. Would anyone? In my dream life, I'm not working. We may have a difference of opinion there, but no, if I didn't have to, I don't know, absolutely not. Do you ever feel guilty when you don't make clothing purchases secondhand? I feel like this is a good opportunity to like kind of retouch base on this because I have made videos on this topic in the past. This sort of movement of sustainability, which I think is freaking awesome, by the way. I think it's amazing that so many people are taking into account like their purchases and their footprint and their contribution to like the planet, etc. But I do think that with this movement comes just so much criticism and like policing each other for our purchases and what we do, and it's so nuanced. Like I could literally do an entire video on it. I have in the past. Also, my friend Alexa has done a really amazing video on this in the past on like her thoughts on sometimes why she hates the sustainable fashion movement and sometimes why she feels like quitting altogether. I have definitely been in phases like that myself because it's so nuanced and there's so many different takes. So many different takes and everyone like is an expert on the subject. It can be really judgy in those spaces and I've noticed a lot of that. Like I've gotten so many DMs from people in the past saying like, how dare you should be ashamed of yourself, like you're doing actual damage by like promoting fast fashion and not only thrifting, you know, like thrifting is the only way to get clothes. And then there's also people who don't like when you thrift too much because they say that you're like taking clothing away from other people, like lower income folks who need to thrift. And then there's people who are like, don't shop at this thrift store because they do X, Y, and Z, and then don't shop here because they do X, Y, and Z, and then don't buy on Depop because you're just supporting like basically thrifting gentrifiers. And there's just like a lot of different takes. And then there's also like the kind of minimalist people, and I think that all of everyone's choices are personal. I mean, even if you share it online like I do, but like the purchases that you make don't dictate like if you're a good person or not. And I don't know if that's like a spicy take, I'm not sure. I will continue to love fashion. I love fashion as a form of expression. I also love that I'm able to, for certain brands, be able to go on their website and know that I can find my size in something cute and trendy and current. Because oftentimes when I go to the thrift store, those options are severely limited, especially for people in larger bodies than mine, 100%. And I think like the reason for that is probably because there is such a lack of clothing options for plus size folks in general. So like then there's less people with clothes that they're willing to part with and donate to thrift stores. It's like a whole thing, sorry. But it can feel really exhausting when, you know, there's like people in your DMs yelling at you for like a purchase that you made on Amazon, but then there's also that part of you that feels terrible for it because Amazon treats their workers like shit, and like there's good reason behind it. Like I think the intention behind like the sustainability police, if you will, like it's good. It was the same thing with like vegans a few years ago. I remember especially like 2015, 2016, it was like a big deal. Like if you posted yourself eating meat on the internet, the banana lady was gonna come for you. So yeah, it's just kind of I would love to continue to showcase brands that cater to a lot of different sizes of people, and also brands that are affordable, and then also promote secondhand fashion when I can. Like I love thrifting, I love it so much, but I will never just be a thrifting channel. I kind of fall somewhere in the middle, I guess, and I do think that like any step you make towards sustainability is a good step, and there is always that kind of phrase that circulates that says there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, which is true, but that doesn't mean that like you shouldn't do anything. Like, you know, there are different changes that you can make and sustainable swaps. I've talked about those on my channel before. There's like a lot of different avenues, so maybe we'll talk about that at a future date, but yeah. To wrap up your question, yeah, clearly I do feel guilty sometimes when I make purchases that aren't secondhand, but we'll talk more about that in the future. How come you don't read your DMs? No criticism, legit just curious. Thank you for asking in such a respectful way. I think it's just a boundary that I started setting for myself. Occasionally I will look in there, but I have found that after years of being on the internet, the sort of most distress that I would feel was when I would read my DMs. People replying to my stories, people people messaging me out of the blue. I would be getting into like full-blown heated discussions with people, like defending myself, my life, and I realized like this is not serving me at all. It's actually making me kind of miserable. I cannot express enough how much happier I am not knowing what people are saying to me in my DMs. They're still there. You can still message me, but I don't read it. And although there were always like amazing, wonderful DMs, it's just like I can't be that accessible all the time. The comments are always open for sure, but like private messages sometimes would get really, really heavy. A lot of people would like trauma dump and kind of like open up about their sort of deepest, darkest experiences that I didn't feel qualified to handle. Like those were for a mental health professional. You know, there are things that like were just draining my battery a little bit, and I think it's perfectly okay to set reasonable boundaries for yourself. Your boundaries are your business, and hopefully you can set boundaries of your own at work. I was finding that like Carrie the YouTuber, like as my job, and like Carrie the person were getting kind of muddled, and I just really wanted to have like a separation there. So yeah, I don't read them anymore. I'm sorry. Do you feel the same way about plastic surgery as you do with Botox / less invasive procedures? I don't really have an opinion on plastic surgery or Botox or like whatever someone wants to do with their body. I'm a big believer in bodily autonomy, and my take on someone else getting plastic surgery doesn't really matter. And like that's something that honestly has given me such peace in the last like probably year or so of my life, is understanding that I don't need to have a take on everything. I used to have a take on absolutely everything, and I would share it. Oh, I would share it. I would share it. Every single thing I felt like I needed to chime in and center myself and be like, well, here's what I think about that. And it doesn't matter. If it's something that like affects me or is harming someone that I love, like, you know, straight up bigoted stuff, I'm always gonna speak up about that. Racist stuff, I'm always gonna speak up about that. But like whether or not someone's getting plastic surgery or what they decide to do with their own body really has nothing to do with me, and like my opinion doesn't add any value to the conversation. But yeah, I guess you could say that I have the same feelings about plastic surgery as I do about like Botox, injectables, etc. Like, yeah, there are some times where I see people get work done, I'm like, I wouldn't have done that, but like good for them. I fully support whatever it is you want to do. So I guess, yeah, my thoughts are the same. Do you ever feel left out because you didn't go to college? Sometimes, yeah, actually. To be clear, I did go to college for a semester. I went to one semester at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. It was kind of a time. Loved Chattanooga so much, like loved the friends that I made there, loved the school, but just didn't love like college in general. And I think it's like perfectly okay that college isn't for everyone. I think college is for a lot of people, and I think that's wonderful. Like Drew literally just graduated 2 years ago, and I'm so happy for him, and he's like the smartest person I know, and he's wonderful. But it was not for me. I struggled a lot with what I now know to be ADHD in school, and so college just was kind of a nightmare for me. But yeah, sometimes like when it comes to like the social things, like when I, you know, realized that I kind of missed out on like the college parties, even though I went to them with my friends, but I just wasn't like a student, or missing out on like those just kind of core college memories. But at the same time, like I was still living really close to a college campus while I was working, and like all of my friends were in college, so I still had that like kind of college partying experience, but I didn't just like actually go to the college, if that makes sense. I will end this on a happy note, and it says, how is Layla doing? Such a cutie. Thank you so much. So many of you asked about Layla, who is my 11-year-old dog, in case you didn't know. She recently got sick. I had a little bit of a breakdown about it on my vlog channel, crying on the internet, you know. Oh, good fun. But she recently had a little hiccup. She got sick, and they ran some tests and realized that her liver levels were extremely elevated. I also just had to bring her back to the vet yesterday because now she has to have 7 teeth pulled. She's old. It's like her jaw, basically the position of her jaw is like her teeth are in the way of each other, so like some of them need to get pulled out. Anyways, for a dog that's 11 years old and has always had like weight issues, even though she's always been on prescription food, and you know, we've always walked her and stuff, she's doing really well. Like internally, she's really healthy other than the liver thing, but she's on medication for that now. She's about to get her teeth pulled. So like, she's doing really well. Like for an 11-year-old dog, I felt so much better after leaving the vet yesterday because they explained that like there are so many other dogs that are younger than her that are doing way worse. So I'm actually like, you know, I think she's kind of thriving. I'm really proud of her. I'm really pleased with where she's at in life right now. She mostly, you know, it's harder for her to get around. She has arthritis basically on like the entire back half of her body, but she's on, you know, supplements and medications, and she basically just like lays in the backyard. That's like her favorite thing to do. She is the happiest dog in the world, just like being outside and like enjoying the sunshine. So she's doing very well. Thank you for asking. I think I have blabbed on enough today, so I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also turn on my post notifications if you want to be notified every time I post a new video. I am sending you all of my love. Thank you so much for being here, and I will hopefully see you very soon in my next video.